You sit there staring at your notes, pages filled with scattered words, half-finished sentences, arrows pointing nowhere, and thoughts that once made perfect sense in the moment, but now feel like a foreign language. And deep down you know something isn't right, because despite all the time you spent writing, nothing feels clear, nothing feels usable, and the quiet fear begins to creep in that when the exam arrives, these notes will not save you, they will confuse you. And that is the moment where most students make a critical mistake. They assume the problem is their memory, their intelligence, or even their discipline. But the truth is far more subtle and far more powerful. The problem is not what you know, it is how you have captured it. Because raw notes are not designed to help you succeed. They are simply a record of exposure, not a tool for mastery. And there is a profound difference between the two. One keeps you busy while the other moves you forward. And once you understand this, everything begins to shift. Because your notes are not supposed to be a storage unit. They are supposed to be a transformation process, a bridge between confusion and clarity. And right now that bridge is incomplete, but it does not have to stay that way. Because hidden inside those messy pages is structure waiting to be revealed, meaning waiting to be organized, and understanding waiting to be activated. And the moment you decide to stop treating your notes as finished work and start treating them as raw material, you step into a completely different level of learning, one where you are no longer passively collecting information, but actively shaping it, refining it, and turning it into something that works for you instead of against you. And this is where real students separate themselves from average ones, not by writing more, but by rewriting smarter, because the act of transformation is where learning becomes permanent, where ideas stop being temporary impressions and start becoming tools you can actually use under pressure. And if you have ever felt that frustration of studying for hours only to forget everything when it matters most, then this is your turning point, because what you are about to learn is not just a method, it is a mindset shift, a way of seeing your notes not as a burden, but as an opportunity, a chance to rebuild knowledge in a way your brain actually understands. And the best part is that you do not need perfect notes to begin. You only need the willingness to transform imperfect ones, because clarity is not something you find, it is something you create, step by step, line by line, until what once looked like chaos becomes something sharp, focused, and ready for the moment that truly counts. But here is where the real challenge begins, because transforming your notes is not as simple as rewriting them neatly or highlighting a few important lines. It requires a deeper level of engagement that most people avoid without even realizing it, because it forces you to confront what you truly understand and what you have only been pretending to understand. And this is where discomfort enters the process, because when you begin to summarize your notes, stripping away unnecessary words and trying to capture the core idea in your own language, you quickly notice the gaps, the missing links, the concepts that never fully settled in your mind. And for many students, this moment feels like failure, but in reality, it is the first sign of real learning taking place, because clarity only comes after confusion is exposed, not before. And this is why summarization is not just a technique, it is a test of your awareness, a mirror that reflects your true level of comprehension. And as you move deeper into this process, something even more powerful begins to happen. You start connecting ideas that once felt separate. You begin to see patterns, relationships, and structures that were invisible during the lecture. And this is where mind mapping becomes your ally, not as a creative exercise, but as a strategic tool that forces your brain to organize information in a way that mirrors understanding rather than memorization. Because when you place a central concept at the center and branch out into related ideas, you are no longer following the linear path of your notes. You are building a network of meaning, and this network is what allows you to recall information under pressure, because the brain does not store knowledge in isolated lines, it stores it in connections. And yet, even with these tools, there is a moment in the middle of this transformation where doubt quietly returns, because the process feels slower than simply rereading. It feels more demanding than passive review, and you might start questioning whether it is even worth the effort, especially when exams feel close and time feels limited. And this is the exact point where most people give up and fall back into old habits, convincing themselves that repetition is enough, that reading the same pages again will somehow lead to mastery. But deep down, you already know that it will not, because you have tried it before, and the results have always been the same: temporary familiarity without lasting understanding. And this is the hidden trap that keeps so many students stuck, not because they lack ability, but because they choose comfort over transformation. And if you are not careful, you will find yourself standing at the edge of real progress and walking away from it, returning to the very methods that created the problem in the first place. And the question you must ask yourself in this moment is simple but powerful. Are you willing to face the discomfort of rebuilding your knowledge, or will you settle for the illusion of being prepared, knowing that when the exam arrives, that illusion will quietly fall apart when it matters most? And this is where everything comes together, because once you decide to move through that discomfort instead of avoiding it, you begin to experience a shift that most students never reach, a level of clarity that does not come from memorizing more, but from understanding better. And this is where your notes finally evolve into something powerful, something exam-ready, because now you are no longer just summarizing or mapping ideas. You are extracting key concepts with precision, identifying what truly matters and letting go of what does not. And this ability becomes your greatest advantage, because exams are not designed to test everything. They are designed to test what is essential. And when your notes reflect that reality, your preparation becomes focused, intentional, and effective. And as you refine this process, you begin to notice something remarkable. Your confidence starts to grow, not because you have covered more pages, but because you have built stronger understanding. And that confidence is not fragile. It does not disappear under pressure, because it is rooted in clarity, not repetition. And this is the difference between students who walk into exams hoping to remember, and those who walk in ready to apply. And as you continue shaping your notes, turning them into condensed summaries, structured mind maps, and clear key points, you are also shaping your thinking, training your mind to prioritize, to connect, and to recall with purpose. And over time, this process becomes faster, more natural, and more efficient, until what once felt difficult becomes your standard approach. And this is when you realize that the true goal was never just better notes, it was better thinking, because your notes are simply a reflection of how you process information. And when that process improves, everything else follows. And now, when you look back at those messy pages that once overwhelmed you, you no longer see confusion, you see potential, because you understand that every piece of information can be transformed, organized, and mastered with the right approach. And that realization changes everything, because it removes the fear of falling behind, it replaces doubt with direction, and it gives you a system you can rely on, not just for one exam, but for every challenge that requires learning and understanding. And this is the moment where you stop chasing information and start mastering it, where you stop reacting to lectures and start controlling how you learn from them. And that is a level of independence that will serve you far beyond any classroom, far beyond any test, because once you learn how to transform information into understanding, there is no limit to what you can achieve, and no subject becomes truly overwhelming again. Only a new opportunity to apply what you now know. And if you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.